Finding Home, a found poem by Sammy Smith. Home. I find myself starting with the street. I know its cobblestones better than any surface on earth. I know the story. Noticing the urban poverty in these compromised spaces, the history I tell, the landscape I describe, its beauty and its trash, along with all the rushing, bustling crowds, only what I myself have seen. I head toward the house, creeping through shortcuts and backyards, searching for a place to plant my roots, the mystery shrouding my history. The house, up there on the hill, a sanctuary for people. It's all just past the fence. When I get to the porch, the front door opens. It opens, but I don't belong here. The word home, it sticks with me. Looking in the windows, listening at the open door, each story opens a door into that person's life. They mark boundaries between people, or take them out, span the borders by which this world's defined. In the world where I see beyond boundaries, borders moved, context disoriented the ground. In the ghetto, there is a mansion, peering from the ledges high above and looking out beyond the screen of time, an 18th century estate in the middle of the urban depression, the mystery shrouding my history, a slice of colonial history, so rich in history, is riddled with the language of before and after, a narrative to manipulate public perception and history. And we'd fit in well there, even as we wander out there, everyone on the lawn, swirling in their mass, everyone past the gate. The irony of a story told through objects is a far darker tale. I put 2 fingers into the crack, concrete crumbling down around them as they wiggle. The house, a metaphor for internal struggle. Watching the circus on its lawn, if it had a memory, it would think back to the time Washington's Continental Army did the same, and how far it had come, just by staying in the same place. It marked the borders of our universe, to tell a story that is too seldom told, and lay the ghosts that history forgets. Where did they go? The streets are quiet. The lawn is empty. I think of that word home, yet it felt a little empty to me. The word home, it sticks with me, continues to call out to me before I see someone emerging from behind its paint-cracked surface, a mirror in someone else. Reflection. Reflection. It must have been a reflection. I look up the hill. I look up the hill and at all the grass and at the walkway. I keep looking because I can't believe it. There are no ghosts. But when my conscience speaks to me, when nightmares rattle through my subconscious, the ghosts remained. I am surrounded by secrets. I stand on top of the hill and circle around, looking and looking. A tattered memory of myself. Everyone I ever love will leave, and sometimes I feel like a nomad. In the last doorway, taking it in, pausing long enough to really inspect the space, which parts do we embrace, and which do we reject? Then closing that last door lightly, then I look back into the house. I try to make the house more livable. New people will come. Now you, dear one, are part of my collage. You make me feel like I have a home in this world. You promised, from the darkness of my past, of my future, 4 sturdy walls to shelter us from storms, a door to latch against the noisy world, or open wide to welcome in a friend, and share, in silence, the beauty of this place. As I was rereading the posts from class, The online dialogues, the flash dialogues, the name stories, it became clear to me that I wanted to capture the voices of each member of the class as we journey together this semester in our search for identity. Thus, I began drafting a list of themes that resonated from our chats, and then, listing each class member's name, I copied and pasted thematically related text that I could later shape into a kind of poetic narrative. Because our identity discussion early on centered around appropriation and reappropriation of text, I felt that a found poem would prove to be an ideal genre for this project. Giving voice to the text that we have been reading and viewing, I likewise felt should be a necessary component of this project. Consequently, in the same manner that I gleaned quotes from classmates' posts, I then amassed quotes from Loving Day, Monsters Rhapsody, The Stories We Tell, and the independently chosen films that we had read and watched outside of class. Of course, the connection between Loudon Mansion from Johnson's Loving Day and its complicated history with identity loomed large for me as a staunchly loyal resident of Washington Heights. I, a stalwart defender of anything Upper Manhattan, always look for ways to celebrate my neighborhood. Living only blocks away from the Morris Jumel Mansion, Washington Heights' own Loudon demanded that I not only pay careful heed to the intersections of race, class, and gender in terms of its current political and racy historical narratives, but also that I highlight the zany grit and beauty of an old, landmarked country estate, once used as a lookout to the bottom of Manhattan, now hidden in the midst of New York City. Madame Jumel had her own spicy history with the Daughters of the American Revolution, tried to rewrite, if not eradicate. Eliza Jumel, daughter of a prostitute, was considered quite the coquette, who made her way around the hoity-toity echelons of wealthy American and French society. Moreover, her marriages to Stephen Jumel, the first Dominican to live in Washington Heights, and former Vice President Aaron Burr, coupled with her connections to Napoleon Bonaparte and Benedict Arnold, drew quite the stir, prompting the Daughters of the American Revolution to tidy up the reputation of the Jumel Mansion, selling off Eliza Jumel's letters at rummage sale prices and attempting to rename the Jumel Mansion Washington's headquarters. This sanitized notion of Eliza Jumel and her home history only begins to acknowledge the layers of work needed to unpack our own identities.